Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. So, we had one yesterday, the Army. Happy Sunday to you, Explorer. Welcome to the class. You got questions, comments, please feel free. So, one game yesterday was Army, and I debated between taking the over or taking Army, and of course, I took Army instead. I knew the over was going to be the play. But the way Army killed Tulane, I said, well, they're going to win the game. Pita bread. But I put it in a frying pan with olive oil. So it's sort of like making toast, but with a pita bread. So I played Army the way they beat Tulane. Navy didn't look too good in their last few games. And, of course, the game goes over. But what are you going to do? Let's look at the line today. Thank you. It's very tasty. All right. Let's go. Baltimore's up to 17-43 against the Giants. You can still get 16.5. I just think this line's too high. We don't trust Lamar. It's a big line. Well, why don't we go through the line and then we'll go through the games. The JUTS is 3.5, 41 to Jacksonville. That hasn't really changed. Washington 7.5, 44. That hasn't changed, and I guess it's either Hayner or Rattler because I see Derek Carr is out. So we will see. Both teams pretty good, 23 defenses. Cincinnati's 546.5 to Tennessee. This is up from 4.5. I don't know. Cincinnati looked good last week, but now they're at Tennessee, which they should win. But again, Cincinnati's got such a bad defense. We'll see. Houston, 2.5, 46 to Miami. We'll see. Two bad quarterbacks in this one. Kansas City, 4.5, and the over is down to 41.5. So the over was 43.5, but it's real windy there. So it's down to a 41.5, means more running, means an Army-Navy type of score. So that's how I looked at it. Carolina, 2.5, 43 over Dallas. Why? How can Carolina couldn't win a game in the SEC? I don't know why they're favored here. Arizona, 646. That hasn't moved at all. San Diego, 345.5 to Tampa. That line hasn't moved. It's been 3. It's a playoff game. They both need it. Herbert's playing. He's fine. So we will see. Detroit, 2.5, 54.5 to Buffalo. That number hasn't moved. Denver, 4, 43.5. You can still get a 3.5 and 44. Game of the day, Philly, 5.5, 43 to Pitt. That line hasn't moved. Maybe a slight rain, but nothing terrible there. Green Bay, 2.5, 46.5 to Seattle. That's a playoff game. Mini 7-44 to the Bears. Nothing's changed there. And Oakland, Atlanta. Atlanta is 5.5, 44.5. This is jumped. This was 4. Now we know Minshew's out. I guess O'Connell's out. Let's see if O'Connell's out. I'm going to go with the Riddler. Oakland. O'Connell, injured knee. Doesn't say if he's out or not. Let's go to the weather. There's a site, NFLweather.com, and it basically goes through every game. All right, we start with KC, Cleveland, chance of rain, 17-mile-an-hour winds, 41 degrees. So again, it's not really rain, cloudy with a high near 43, southeast wind around 18 miles an hour with gusts 30, chance of rain 80%. New rainfall's amount. So it's not going to rain a lot. If it does, it's 1.25 inches possible. So it's not really the rain. It's more the wind that you're looking at in this game. And, it's hard to go in wind. It's much harder. Rain's fine. Wind, it's tough to throw the ball in. Cincinnati, Tennessee. Games at Tennessee. It's warm, 57 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour winds. Chance of rain, showers, then mostly cloudy. Chance of rain before noon, mostly cloudy with a high near 59, south wind 10 to 15 with gusts 25. Chance of rain 30%, new rainfall amount. So there's that. If it does rain, it's not going to be much, and it's pretty warm. It's Tennessee. A little bit of a wind. That won't hurt Joe Burrow. Washington, New Orleans. It's in a dome. Who gives a shit? Baltimore and the Giants. It's hot in Ghana. All right. Well, that's what, Africa? Yeah, on the gold standard yet? Baltimore, New York. We got cloudy, high near 39 in New York. Wind chill values at 24. North wind about 6. But no rain, just a little cool, a little wind. Dallas, Carolina. This game's in Carolina. Chance of light rain, a chance of rain, but it's not a big chance. Cloudy with the high near 47, northeast around 8. Chance of rain, 30%, new rainfall. So probably not going to get rain, maybe a little cloudy. Miami at Houston in a dome. The JETS is at Jacksonville. Slight chance of rain and 71 there, so not a problem. Indy, Denver, it's clear with 20-mile-an-hour winds, apparently. Mostly clear, low around 23, with temperatures rising to about 25 overnight. West-southwest wind, 3 to 16 miles an hour with gusts. I don't know what they're talking about, because on the front it says 54 and clear. Then it's giving me 20. So I guess by game time it'd be 54. And I don't know what this 21-mile-an-hour wind is. So maybe we get some wind. I don't know. Buffalo, Detroit in a dome. Pitt, Philly. Slight chance of rain. Very light wind, 40 degrees. Rain. Cloudy with a low around 37, east wind about 5 miles an hour. Chance of rain is 90%. So we will get some rain in this game. 1.25 inch possible. So not a lot of rain. It might rain 40, so it's like 35 degrees. So that's not a problem. And wind is 5 miles an hour, so that won't be a problem. New England, Arizona in a stadium. Tampa Bay and San Diego in a stadium. Green Bay, Seattle in Seattle. Not a stadium. 45 degrees, 3-mile-an-hour winds, light rain, rain after 7, cloudy, low around 40 with temperatures rising to 42. Fine for football east wind about 6 miles an hour. Not a problem. Chance of rain. I can't say precipitation, so I'm going to say rain is 90%. New rainfall amounts 1.25 inch possible. So we should get some rain in this game. Chicago at Minnesota is in a dome, and Atlanta and Oakland are in a dome. So that is your NFL weather. We've gone through the odds. Let's see if there's any news. So I go to Covers doesn't have the news that I get from Yahoo. Max Crosby's out for the season, the defensive tackle at Oakland. Campbell walks out on 49ers and more on Belichick's move. Who gives a shit? I love this. The Texan wide receiver Nico Collins says NFL fined him for tossing the touchdown ball into the stands. Are you kidding me? What's with the fines? What are they, police? Bill Belichick. I didn't come here to leave. Well, what did you go to fucking North Carolina for? To win the Heisman? By the way, Hunter won the Heisman, the guy from Colorado. I'm surprised Prime Jr. didn't win it just on principle. I don't buy that this Hunter guy is the best guy in college football. That's a joke. Dallas and Carolina. This is fantasy football. Start Rico Dowdell. I'm really looking at injuries. Doug. Yeah, this is too stupid to look at. So I'm not seeing any real injury news. I do believe that Herbert's playing. I did check that. I didn't see him even on the injured list. Sometimes they're the old injuries, like Joe Burrow. He's got a wrist injury. Well, he's had one that was a while ago, but not recently. If you watch the game, he's not having any problem throwing the ball. All right, let's go into who needs the game today for the playoffs. Kansas City, Cleveland, obviously KC wants to hold on to the 1 seed. They do have a 2-game lead. They are at Cleveland. The way they play, it'll be probably a close game. Cincinnati, Tennessee. Cincinnati is really almost mathematically out. They got 5 wins, and I think Baltimore has 8, and there's 4 weeks left. So they got to go 4-0, and Baltimore's got to go 0-4, basically. Especially since Baltimore beat them both times. And the same thing with San Diego and Denver, both with, I think, 8 or 9 wins. So Cincinnati's really out of it, but maybe mathematically. Washington, New Orleans, they both need it. Washington is in the wild card right now. They're the third wild card behind Minnesota and Green Bay. So right now they're the third, so they need the game to keep winning. I don't think they can catch Philly, but they do need to keep winning. I think they play Philly soon. New Orleans mathematically can still catch Tampa, but they're so bad. I mean, they're 4 or 5 wins, so I'm not betting on New Orleans because they have to win the game because they're a bad team. Baltimore and the Giants. Baltimore needs this to keep the wild card. The Giants are obviously out. Dallas, Carolina, both are out. The Jets and Jacksonville, both are out. Miami and Houston. Houston's winning their division. Miami, they're really out of it. They've got to go 4-0 and hope Denver and San Diego, who play each other next week, so one of them's going to win. So they really are out of it. Maybe mathematically, but Houston's better because they can just win the division. Denver. Indy's trying to catch Houston. Denver's in the fight for the wild card. They can't catch KC for the division, but they want to stay in for the wild card. Buffalo, Detroit. Detroit's playing for the 1 seed to keep it. Buffalo is 2 games back of Kansas City now, and if they lose this, then they'll be behind. If Pitt wins, they're tied with Pitt now, 2 games behind KC. They've clinched their division, so we will see, is it a big game? But, is Buffalo really okay? They're going for the 1 seed. Hard to say. Should be a good game, though. Pitt and Philly. Philly's trying for the 1 seed against Detroit. They're winning their division. Pitt also going to try to catch KC for the 1 seed, winning there with a 2-game lead over Baltimore, so they both need the game. New England, Arizona. Arizona needs to win to try to catch Seattle and the Rams. New England's obviously out. San Diego is in the wild card, but it has to keep winning. Tampa Bay needs the game to win their division because they probably won't get a wild card. Maybe they could, but both teams need it. Green Bay, Seattle. Green Bay's fighting for the wild card. Seattle's fighting for the division. The Bears are out of it. Minnie is trying to catch Detroit. Detroit loses to Buffalo, and they win, and they're tied with the 1 seed, and they're tied in the division. So big game for Minnie. And Atlanta and Oakland. Atlanta needs it for their division. They're probably not in the wild card. And then Oakland couldn't win in the Big Ten. All right, so there you have it. Let's look at teaser trends. These are teams you play in a teaser. This is this year and last year combined. Some are this year, some are both. Minnesota, very strong. Green Bay, very strong. Detroit, Tampa, Washington, Pitt, and Buffalo are very strong. By that, they're like 90%. Indy and Houston, and then Denver, San Diego are very strong in a teaser. Play against, we've got Jacksonville. The Jets are like 13-1. I'll get into that. Atlanta and Cincinnati, and Indy's very, very, I think they're all 13-0 against in a teaser. Tennessee, Dallas, New York Giants, the Rams already played. Houston and Jacksonville. I got Jacksonville twice, and I got Atlanta twice. That means they're bad this year and last year. So the first time is this year, and then I go back to 2022. So what does that mean? Well, it's kind of a technical analysis where you're looking at how are these teams in a teaser? And are they good at home or on the road as a dog or a favorite? Now, this is just one measure that I use along with looking at the defenses and the quarterbacks and the coaches and how are they playing and do they need the game for the playoffs? So there's 7 to 8 different variables, which is why you can't use analytics to come up with picking football. If you do, you're in big trouble. So with that said, let's go through the games. Nothing on KC Cleveland. I only really care about like 85% and over. I don't look at 51% and say, oh, that's a trend. So we got Cincinnati is not much, but if we play against Tennessee, it's 11-2 and 8-0 as a home dog. So this is more play against Tennessee in this position than really bet on Cincinnati, but that's okay. Washington 11-2 in a teaser this year. New Orleans is not very good. Baltimore is not very good in the teaser, but the Giants play against the Giants are 11-2, and as a home dog, they're 7-0 bet against as a home dog. So the Giants at home, and they're the dog, they lose. And if you just bet against the Giants all year, you're 11-2. Carolina and Dallas play against Dallas this year is actually 11-2. But they've had the injuries, and they've looked better the last few weeks, beating Washington, playing Cincinnati pretty good. So they're definitely better with Cooper Rush. The Jets play against them. It's 13-1. They're just in disarray. There's no coach. You got Aaron Rodgers, but they got Devontae Adams. Their defense isn't as good. They're missing Salas. You can't replace the coach and the offensive coordinator. I mean, they got to get you got to. It's like me. I started a new job. Well, you got to get used to it and comfortable with it. You don't just because you just don't know where everything is and what to do. And I'm trying to learn these different new systems that I've never learned before. So it takes a while. So when they go in to learn these systems, it's going to take a while. That's why the Jets are just struggling this year, even with the healthy Aaron Rodgers. It's not his fault. Miami and Houston play against Houston is 11-2. Play against them as a home favorite 5-0. Play on Houston's 11-2, and play against Miami as a road dog 10-1. So basically, Houston plays a bunch of close games. Miami sucks on the road. They're a good home team. They suck when they're the dog on the road, which is the point. But Houston is a home favorite. It's 5-0 against. So you've got conflicting trends here. It's basically figure this game will be close because Houston wins closely, like Kansas City does. Denver and Indy. Denver is 12-1 in a teaser. Play against Indy is 13-0, and Indy is 11-2. So you can have both. Meaning Indy, like here, they're 3.5-point dogs. They lose by 7. So you could have bet them and got 9-1, and you could bet against them and win, and that's what they do. So they lose close most of the time. And Denver 12-1. Denver covers all the time, and they're very good at home. Buffalo 12-1 in the teaser. Detroit, they're probably like 10-3 or 11-2 in a teaser. Pittsburgh 12-1 in a teaser with Russell Wilson. Play against Philly as a home favorite 5-0. Play against Philly the whole year, you're 11-2. And Pitt is 8-1 as a road dog. So Pitt's a very strong dog anytime, especially on the road. 12-1 overall with Russell Wilson and a little bit of Fields. But then you play against Philly's 11-2 because they're overspread. They're laying 7. They should be laying 3. Here they're laying 5.5. They should be laying 3. So that's why they got bad numbers. Some of these teams, like Baltimore today, you can't lay 17 in the pros, especially with Lamar. Who knows who he'll throw to? Watch the Giants get 2 or 3 picks. Arizona, New England, nothing. Tampa Bay, San Diego. Tampa Bay's 11-2 in a teaser and 12-0 as a road dog. Don't forget this, Don Corleone. San Diego is 12-1 in a teaser, 4-0 as a home favorite this year. I couldn't lose last year's because Herbo is new. Tampa, pretty much the same, Baker and coach. So 12-0 as a road dog sticks out. You got him as a road dog here. This game's been driving me nuts, although Herbert is playing. He has the ankle sprain, but he doesn't care. He takes the needle and plays. Very good quarterback. So you have a 12-1 San Diego team. So they're going to cover against an 11-2 Tampa, who's 12-0 as a road dog. So they're going to cover. So my guess on this, it'll be a close game, and off you go. Green Bay, Seattle, Green Bay 12-1 in a teaser. Minnesota, Chicago, Minnesota 27-3 in a teaser, 12-1 this year. So that goes back last year and this year. Even though Darnold wasn't there last year, they did have the coach and Jefferson and the defense, and they were 15-2 last year. My apologies, but it is cold and flu season, as we know. So Minnesota just covers. They love the teaser. They play close games. They're laying 7 here. Probably win by 3 or 7 or 10. Or last week they pulled away in the 4th against Atlanta. Minnesota, Caleb just isn't any good. But he, as soon as he gets the ball, he wants to scramble, which screws up all the pass routes. Pass routes, as Bill Walsh showed you with Joe Montana, they're timing. 3 steps back, he's open, throw the ball. 5 steps back, he's open, throw the ball. And the guys would be open on timing. That's how pass patterns work. But if Caleb wants to run sideways, goes back, starts running, you fuck the timing up. The receivers aren't open, but he doesn't know how to read a defense. So he's terrible. Anyway. And then, so that's it. Atlanta and Oakland don't have a trend. So there's teaser trend. Who needs the game? We talked about that. And I've got 4 locks in here, and I played about 9 games. I had the Rams +9 on Thursday night. And that was a good one. So, you kind of ride the hot teams. I've been on Denver a lot this year. Detroit a lot. Pittsburgh I've been on a lot. San Diego, Minnesota. And you basically want to bet the good teams because they tend to be good. They win, they cover. And in the NFL now, there's so many bad teams that when a good team has to win, right? So you can't look at Tampa, San Diego. They both need the game, but you go to like I don't know. Well, they're really like Mini Chicago. Mini needs the game to catch Detroit, especially they'll know what happened because they're tonight's. I think they're Monday night. Yeah, Green Bay, Seattle's tonight, and so they'll know what happened. But Chicago has nothing to play for, so Mini's the better team. Now it is a rivalry. It is both NFC North teams, so that takes a little bit out of it, but that's what you look at. Now the other thing is the Z teams. Let's talk about them. So who are the Z teams now? Cleveland, Tennessee, the Giants, Carolina, Jacksonville, and Oakland. How the hell do you have all these Z teams in the NFL? That's, what do we got? One, I forgot to mark Cleveland as a Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 teams that are Z teams. So you get a good team playing the Z team, and that, KC, Cleveland, well, you're going to have weather there, but, KC should beat them. Cincinnati over Tennessee, Baltimore, well, they're already laying 16.5. and then Atlanta, who needs the game. But with Kirk Cousins, if Penix was playing for Atlanta, I'd lock Atlanta over Oakland. But with Cousins, I can't even touch it. He's so bad. Again, it's amazing how we can see and they can't, right? How can the general manager not see Daniel Jones suck? And then finally they see it. Then how can they not see Trevor Lawrence sucks? And then finally, well, I don't know if they injured him. And the amazing part is the GMs paid these guys. They paid Daniel Jones $250 million, and the guy's like a third stringer. He's the third stringer on the Vikings. He's making more money than anybody on the team. So that's what you look at. Everybody thinks Detroit is the best at covering. They're not. The best at covering is Minnesota. That's what you find out when you do my teaser trends. So I played the Detroit Buffalo game, but I didn't play Detroit. Detroit's got a lot of defensive injuries, and you take that into account when you're grading the team. But you're basically just grading. You got to take the team out of it. It's who's the Z teams. I talked about this in college yesterday. Who are the Z teams and who's the A teams? And it doesn't matter. People ask me, who's your favorite team? The A team, whoever the A team is, it changes. It's not the Dallas Cowboys. It's not the 49ers. It was at a time, but not now. So I don't play Dallas and 49ers. They're not my favorite teams. My favorite teams are more Pittsburgh and in Minnesota right now. That's how you win betting football. You have to be able to be open-minded and switch. You have to, the theory is I'm taking A against Z, or I'm betting against the Z's and I'm betting on the A's. And you have to move. That's the theory, is figure that out. Not, I'm a Steeler fan or a Redskin fan or a Packer fan. It's got nothing to do with it. It's who's hot. That's how I win every year, because now I'm not playing Dallas and I'm not playing Frisco and I'm not playing Miami. I'm playing, Minnesota and Pittsburgh and Denver and, so I'm more playing who's covering and who are the better teams now than they're not. Pittsburgh's an A team. San Diego's a B. Denver's a B. Baltimore's an over. Washington's an over. Kansas City's not even an A team. They're a B team. So that's really where your focus is. An A plays a Z or an under or something. And again, these are tricky to come up with. You can't just look at the numbers. You have to look at injuries, and quarterback got injured. Like Miami, the quarterback, Tate, gets injured. Skylar Thompson, what kind of backup is that? He sucks. They don't score. So now they're an under team. And then Tay comes back in, and you're going, oh, wait, he puts up 25 points a game. They're not an under if he's going to do that. So now you got to get the Tay games and then grade Miami in those games, not the overall 14 weeks. So you've got to be smart enough to tweak to understand the injuries. And every team has got the injuries. It depends on the position. So the Lions haven't lost Goff, but they've lost their whole defense. Where last year, Cincinnati lost Burrow. They didn't lose them this year. Let's look at the quarterbacks. So you've got Mahomes against Winston. Well, Washington, I don't know what Cleveland's doing with Deshaun Watson. He's terrible. They play him. They don't score. Winston comes in. They score a little bit more, but he throws a lot of interceptions, which is why Tampa cut him, New Orleans cut him, and everybody else cuts him. He can't. He throws he can't read defenses. He can't throw to the right team. He can pray to God all he wants. God can't help him here. Cincinnati, you got Burrow against Levis at Tennessee. Okay. Levis sucks. Burrow superstar. You've got What is this? All right. So, Levis isn't very good, but they can't recognize. He wasn't good at Kentucky. I didn't understand how he was drafted. And I love how they draft him in the first round, like trying to justify the pick. Well, if you draft him in the first round, then nobody will be pissed that we took a guy that's terrible. Washington, now Daniels against, I don't know if it's Hayner or Redler. It doesn't matter. Carr is definitely out. His head was up his ass last week. What are you doing? You're supposed to slide because you're valuable. We can't lose you. Right? So what does he do? He jumps into these guys and lands on his wrist and breaks his wrist. What the fuck are you doing jumping over guys? Slide, you idiot. So these guys, the quarterback, he must have wanted to get hurt because the quarterbacks should be sliding, because if they get hurt, you're fucked. Right? So I assume it's either Hayner or Rattler. Hayner came in last week, so probably him. Lamar against Danny DeVito, Baltimore and the Giants. Lamar sucks. Danny DeVito, really, this is your backup to Jones? And this comes about because you paid Daniel Jones $35 million a year. So you can't afford a good backup. Why are you paying him $35 million a year? I'd offer the guy $5 million with incentives. You win a game, you get incentives. I would absolutely do incentive-based contracts, not this guaranteed shit. $35 million, prove it. Daniel Jones, why is he even there? But then it kills you on your backup. It has to be shitty also. Cooper Rush, who's better than Dak, and you can see it. They beat Washington. They played Cincinnati pretty good against Steve Young, who absolutely is horrible for Carolina. What's he doing? You drafted him first yet. This guy's terrible. So I hope Micah Parsons. Well, I hope Micah Parsons says hello to him today a few times. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers, okay, superstar against Jacksonville. Mac Jones sucked at New England, and yet Jacksonville picks him up. Really? Okay. You wonder why Jacksonville's only won 2 games. Miami, Houston, Tagliavua against Stroud. Both are average quarterbacks at best. Neither can read a defense. They went to Ohio State and Alabama. They must be good. Why? None of them are ever any good. So, look at Fields. Look at C.J. Barrett. Where's he? Working at the gas station? So, again, big problems with the quarterbacks. Indy and Denver, Richardson, what is he doing? He's terrible against Bo Nix, who's actually good. That I thought was that was a solid pick because he went to Oregon. They put up 40 points a game. That's probably going to be a good quarterback. Richardson was at Florida, did shit. Oh, he can run. Yeah, well, we see how many games you're winning with him running. So Nix is very good, but then Richardson's terrible. Buffalo, Detroit, Allen against Goff. Allen's much better. Goff is not that good. He is good in this system because you've given him a good offensive line, good running backs, and good receivers. So the talent around him is so good that he can't, he can hand the ball off and they get first downs, and he can play action. He does a lot of that, and everybody has to honor the receivers. Is it him doing it? No, he's not very good. Look at that Houston game, 5 interceptions. What the fuck? Okay, so so he's not a winner. He choked at the Rams. put up a whole 3 points in the Super Bowl, the biggest game, and he puts up 3. So at what point do you think all of a sudden, oh, he's not a choke anymore? I don't see it. Even if he wins today, he's still a choke because he's doing it with a balanced. He's got a balanced offense. That's why they wanted when he was on the Rams. They had that the Georgia running back Todd Gurley. It was Gurley, and so he just handed the ball off, got out of the way, and then once in a while he'd play action pass. He couldn't do what the Rams are doing with Pukanuka and Cooper Kupp. He couldn't do. That's why they got rid of him. So he's not very good, but he choked against the Niners. The only reason they won in the playoffs, they were playing shit teams. They beat a lousy Tampa team and a average Ram team who didn't have Cooper Kupp last year. So they got lucky. They played the Rams without their receivers, or they would have eaten them up. And then here they played, and then a weak Tampa team, Dallas and Philly, choked down the stretch. And then they got to the Niners, and the Niners beat them, and you blew the lead because you keep going for it on fourth down. Pitt and Philly, Russell Wilson and Hurts. It's not even close. Russell Wilson's outstanding. Jalen Hurts, not very good. He wants to run more. He can't read defenses. New England, Arizona, Drake May, he sucks. Kyler Murray, I like Kyler Murray, but I don't know where he goes. 16-6, you lose to Seattle, and you get him again, and you lose 30-14. You sometimes throw for 30 points, and sometimes you get 6. I don't know what's going on there. I do believe Marvin Harrison's is a waste. He can't do back shoulder throws. What's he doing in the league? Tampa, San Diego, this is a good one. The Baker against Herbert. Okay, 2 good quarterbacks. Green Bay, Seattle, Love against Smith. I like Love. Smith, this is terrible with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and you can't throw for, you can't score. I mean, they're an E team. They scored 22-23 with those two and Kenneth Walker. Wow. Now Walker's out. You got Charbonnet, and you got these receivers. Although I don't like Smith and Jiva. I thought that was a terrible pick. Chicago, Manny, Caleb stinks. Darnold did stink, and now he looks really good, so I can't explain that. But Caleb's terrible. And then Kirk Cousins is the worst. And O'Connell or Riddler for Oakland, which are both terrible quarterbacks. Why are you paying Kirk Cousins all this money? Why is he your starter? At what point do you think he's good? This is where we can see he sucks, but the team pays him all this money and then looks like idiots if they bench him for Penix. Yeah, Penix is 10 times better. It's really hard to understand. Do you want to win, or are you just scared that you look like idiots because you have like Penix and you're not playing him? I would guarantee this win with Penix. With Cousins, I don't want anything to do with it. Now, Max Crosby's out. So Atlanta could win the game, but they're so bad, it's really hard to bet Atlanta. And they don't have a defense. All right, so that's today's games. www.teaserking.com. Get the picks, $75 for all of it. You get 4 locks. You can buy the locks, $75. But if you buy the pros, they are included in the locks. You don't need 2 purchases. You just either you want the 4 locks, or you go and you say, give me all of them because I want the other picks, and that's $75. And it's 12 o'clock, so you get an hour for that. Last week was huge, 10-0. I've had another 10-0 and a 10-1 the last 5 weeks. So, but it's because I now know the Z team. The Z team now and the Z team in week 1 are different. That's why I'm so successful, because you got to use last year's trends. And then the first 3 weeks are pointless because they're preseason, because these idiots don't play anybody in the preseason. It's so ironic. These teams don't play their players in the preseason for fear of injury, but by not doing it, that's why every team's decimated. So had the Lions play in the preseason, their guys probably wouldn't have half the injuries they got. Now, I don't know. I didn't see the Hutchinson injury. I was in Italy. I don't care. He broke his leg, but maybe if he had played preseason, he wouldn't have broken it. He'd have been quicker. He would have known something. Maybe it wouldn't. But this bullshit of I can't play my guys because they're going to get injured, and then you have 3 times the injuries. I've never seen so many injuries in my life. Going through the injury report, it takes a half hour to go through each team. And there are a bunch of nobodies that I've never heard of. I don't even know what team I'm looking at. By the time I'm near the bottom half, I'm like, who? Oh, I'm looking at the New York Giants. Oh, okay. That's how pathetic it is. Anyway, we'll take another look at about 1:45. We'll take a look at the last lines. Now I do add games. So if you buy, I'm not this idiot handicapper who gives you one game and that's it. And, that's it. No commentary, maybe a little paragraph. But I give you my bets. And then from there, I give you, if it's 2:00 or 3:00, I might add the 4:30 games. I might go, well, I really got a good feeling on that. I like the way the day's going, and I'll add that. Or I'll add the night game with the Monday night game. So I could add Green Bay with Minnesota at 6:00 tonight. So keep that in mind. So you got to check in. Figure at least I won't add anything if it's only a half hour, 45 minutes. Let's say that. So it's got to be almost an hour before. But you already know my picks because you bought them, so you can see. Let's say I played Arizona. Well, I played it, so that's my pick. And then if I add an Arizona later, well, it's not a new pick. It's just I'm playing them in another teaser. So I don't know how you play me. I don't know if people just look at my picks and then do their own, or they look at my picks and bet my picks. But I bet a lot, but I've been doing it since 1970. So I'll put my best team in 2 teasers. So my locks are all in 2 teasers today. And that's how I win, because I like the game. It wins. I got it. I bet it twice, and off I go. Let's check any emails. The Royal Caribbean wants to play. All right, I pretty much got my guys. We'll see if there's a few people that I haven't seen yet this week. It always amazes me. I go 16-0 last week, and you're like, well, why isn't I'm getting more buyers? What does it do you want me to do to buy my picks? Oh well, they're lost. I'm friends with a lifeguard, and she wanted to be in the air. She wants to be a pilot, so she wanted to be in the Air Force, and they rejected her. So she says to me, "Well, I'm going to be in the Navy." What happened to the Air Force? They didn't want me, and I said, "This is a lesson you're going to learn throughout your life. Is it's their loss, right? You ask a girl out, she doesn't accept. It's your loss, not mine. It's your loss. You go for a job interview and they don't hire you. It's your loss." So that's the message for the day. It's their loss. It's your loss if you didn't want to, I don't know what the criteria for the Air Force is, but I says, you're going to learn this a lot in life. You just say it's their loss. Oh, we got to try this. Cavities and decay in 7 days. All right, I gotta watch that one later. She does all these creative ones. All right, let's see if this is stoic.
The teacher gave her students an assignment asking them to share a story with a moral. Little Johnny raised his hand and said, "My parents once told me a story about morals." The teacher encouraged him to share, and Johnny began. So there was a little bird flying south for the winter. It was so cold that the bird froze and fell to the ground in a large field. While lying there, a cow came by and pooped right on top of it. Strangely, the frozen bird in the pile of cow poop began to feel warm and great. It laid there all cozy and happy and even started singing. Just then, a cat passing by heard the bird song and went over to investigate. The cat discovered the bird under the pile of cow poop and promptly dug him out and ate him. The teacher was stunned and asked, "Dear God, what was the moral of that story?" Little Johnny replied, "Well, it teaches us some valuable lessons. Not everyone who shits on you is your enemy. Not everyone who gets you out of shit is your friend." The teacher gave her students an assignment and asked.
That's a good one. So now we've got this idiot. Now you read the title, but he never talks about the title. Forget the price. Something I'll watch this later and report back tomorrow. But something huge is coming. The Fed will change gold and silver prices forever. So they're going to revalue gold and silver, is what he's saying. And they really don't have a choice because Russia and China just came out with physical markets. So if I want to sell my gold, I'm going to sell it to a person, not to COMEX, and it won't be priced on derivatives. I assume that's what he's talking about. Let's take a look.
Too soon. Now, Mom? In anticipation of the.
So if you ever want, you can just go to show transcript. So I went into the title, show transcript. And it tells you what he said. So I don't have to listen to his boring bullshit. And this guy really is clueless. I mean, there's a huge shortage in silver. We talked about that yesterday in class. And I don't know, he doesn't really say much. I'll have to watch it later. It's hard to watch this guy. He's so stupid. I love this one. I watched this guy. Crooks running Ukraine-Russia war. Well, we knew that the whole time. The crooks have been running Ukraine for years. Let's see. Here's
how many chickens you get for an ounce of gold or a gram of gold. That's really what counts. But the most important thing is you see what's happening to the currency. So by now it's down 99% since 1970. By 2040, it will be down virtually 100%. I can guarantee that's going to happen. Of course, they will try with central bank digital currencies, come up with new dollar, etc. But you can't make debt disappear. Debt will always be there. However way you try to hide it, the debt will always be there, and you will have the same problem.
The research is showing that 6 to.
You got me fired up about something major that's going on that we were talking about just before we started recording here in the silver markets. Can you share with the community what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely, Shane. Obviously, look, it's unlike gold. This has been the problem with silver. Unlike gold, it's not yet been formally reclassified as a first-year asset class. So, but nevertheless, it's a component of Beijing's war efforts, alongside hedging, foreshadowed tariffs to come. Liquidity providers assess the relaxing of the SGE rules that we looked at last time is specifically focused on attracting large silver bullion flows into China to meet military and industrial demand.
The full episode, just click.
So as we know, the demand is what makes the price go up.
The way we look at it, the price is not irrelevant, but you should not look at gold as an investment. You measure on a daily basis. You buy a kilo of gold, 100 kilos of gold, or a ton of gold, whatever size investor you are. You put it away and you don't look at the value. All you know is that you have X ounces or X kilos of gold, and you know that will over time outperform, or at least keep pace with every other asset in the world. And times like today, when there is so much money printing and credit creation, gold will outperform all other assets in the next few years. Even in this century, in the 2000s, gold has done better than almost every asset class, done better than all of the stock markets. Most people don't realize that because people don't even know that gold exists. Therefore, price is irrelevant. Of course, sometimes gold doesn't move. It moves in periods, sometimes very fast, and sometimes it just goes sideways.
The fact
But again, it's all because of the COMEX pricing it. That's why it moves. That's the problem with these guys.
Perceived market making, COMEX.
They don't get that, gold doesn't move. Gold moves, but it's being suppressed. So if it's being suppressed, then that's why it's not moving, not because the market says no. There's no free market in gold and silver. It's not like I want to sell it and somebody wants to buy it. I mean, I can sell it on eBay, but they're going to use the price of the paper price. Right? So gold, what is it, 26.60 right now. So if gold's 26.60, I go on eBay, that's what I'm going to get for it. The 26.60, maybe with another $50, $75 premium. But if it was free market like the Mantle cards and the Rolexes, I would be getting $20,000 for it. So they don't understand that part, or they just are confused. Gold doesn't move. Gold doesn't move because it's not free market. I was talking to my friend again about diamonds, and I love this analogy. The diamonds, they're coming out with these lab-made diamonds as opposed to De Beers digging them out of the ground. And the lab diamonds look exactly like the real diamonds, and they're much cheaper. The real diamonds are like $6,000 a carat, and the lab ones are like $900. And so the jeweler where I buy the gold from says, well, they're going to flood the market with them because they got so many of them and the price should go down. And I stopped them and I said, that's the US dollar. They're flooding the market. So now here's our definition of inflation. They flood the market, lowering their value and or inflating the supply of money, lowering their value. It's the same thing. And that's really, maybe that's an easier way. I know you guys get it, but for, Bobby's daughter to get it, they're flooding the market, which makes the price go down or makes the value go down. And that's what all these options are on gold and silver. They flood the market with the gold and silver derivatives, the paper gold, but not the physical gold. So you must understand that. That's what happens. So what we're trying to do is the way a market works is I try to sell something. Does somebody want it? If nobody wants it, there's no market, there's no value. If somebody wants it, we then try to figure out the price. I'll sell you the Mahomes card for $1,000 and I get no buyers. Oh, okay. Let's try $750 and I get no buyers. Okay, let's say $500 and then I get buyers. Okay, that's the price. Or vice versa. I might sell it for $500 and I get a buyer immediately and go, fuck, that was too cheap. $750. I get a buyer right away. Okay, $1,000. Okay, now I do get a buyer, but it takes a while. So that's how you come up with your price. You know what the cost is? That's irrelevant. If it costs me $100 for this card and I can only sell it for $50, nobody cares that it cost me $100. Then I'm an idiot for paying $100. But if I can only get $50, now that's what a market is. I want to sell something and somebody wants it, and that's all that Adam Smith is saying is the individual controls the market, not the government. So if we want to go buy a golf club, a set of golf clubs, somebody will make it, but then we got to agree on the price. And that's where fair trade comes in. Do I want to trade my money for the golf clubs? How much is the golf clubs? And I go, oh, that's $2,000. No, too much. $500-600. Okay, I'll buy it. So everything is done as a fair trade. It's fair for both parties. You sell them for $500 because it costs you $300. I buy them for $500 because I think that's a reasonable price to pay for it. So both parties must be happy. That's economics. When the government gets in, and that's why we call it invisible hand, keep the government the fuck out. When the government gets involved, they start doing subsidies. Oh, well, I know it costs you $250 for the golf clubs, but we'll give you back $100. So your cost is now $150. Okay, then I expect you to sell the golf clubs $100 cheaper. That's what Tesla does. Tesla can't sell a car. They're way too expensive, and nobody fucking wants electric cars. Very few people. And so how is he in business trying to make an electric car that nobody wants, selling it at $100,000 that nobody, it's not a fair trade? Are you just selling it to the rich and you think the rich want that? No, the rich want Mercedes, Ferraris. They don't want a Tesla. That's what the market is. The market determines it, but why Tesla does it, it's because of the subsidies. So the government gives them $7,500 a car, I guess. I don't know. And then that's what he does with his moon thing, or the X project, which is basically to go to the moon or go to Mars, or there's no demand for that either. You really want to get fried by radioactivity after 400 miles up in the air? You'll get fried going to Mars. And then you get to Mars, what are you going to do there? There's no golf courses. There's no restaurants. You're not going to do anything. So, I mean, there's no demand to go. Again, the government is subsidizing him. So all he does is really get into government subsidies. That's why he gave $150 million to Trump to get favors back. And this is the problem with government. All this lobbyists paying the government money, and the government does what they want them to because they paid for them to get them elected. The whole system needs to be blown up. You cannot have lobbyists, and you cannot have these. It shouldn't cost anything. I should be able to run for president, and it shouldn't cost me a nickel. Because if it does, that's the first problem. And then who gives me the money? So if Don Corleone gives me $1 billion to run for president and I win, hey, Howard, remember I gave you $1 billion. I want this and I want that. What am I going to do? I either die or I give him what he wants, but that's not what I want. I want to come out with a gold-backed currency, but he doesn't, So that's the problem with government. That's the problem when the government gets involved with the free market, right? These subsidies. No, because we want competition to lower the price, not subsidies. If they can't make a product that competes, like Tesla is way too expensive, then let them fold. They shouldn't have done it in the first place. So really, that's free market economics, and that's why the Keynesian shit doesn't work. It's the same thing with money. If you flood the system with money, it loses value. Here, their Keynesians are saying to flood the system with money. Well, we'll just keep printing more money. That'll take care of the debt. Oh, we need $1 trillion. Well, just print the $1 trillion. But you flooded the market with dollars, makes it worthless. This is the part that for some reason, either they don't understand or they're doing it on purpose because they're all George Soros people. I can't understand either way what they're doing. So all these people that think they have money, like Warren Buffett, are sadly mistaken because they're flooding the market with dollars, which means they're worthless. Now, Egon said it's 99%, and the other will be by 2030. It's done already. What's the difference between 99% gone and 100% gone? What, are you kidding me? So this is the problem. You've got to understand the free market, and we're the ones who set the price. So when they go and they say, okay, here's Canadian Club, and we'll give it to you, and they put down $50, if we don't buy it, guess what happens? The price goes down. Because there's no buy, because their whole business model is to sell it. We're going to make whiskey and then we're going to sell it. We need to sell it at, we can sell it at 40, but we'll put it out for 50. And if it doesn't sell, the price goes down. That's why you see sales everywhere, whatever, Best Buy or Target or Costco or Sam's Club or Kroger's. The reason they're on sale is because they're not selling. And if you ever want a price to go down, don't buy it. So you see New York strips going for $16 a pound, don't buy it. Next thing you know, it'll be on sale for 10 because the grocery store is there to sell the products. And if they're not selling because the price is too high, they must lower it. That's why you cannot measure inflation in prices. So if they're flooding the market with dollars, their response is, well, we'll look at prices. That'll tell us if there's inflation. You're flooding the market with dollars. That's the inflation. So they don't get it. And they keep looking, oh, inflation's coming down. It can't come down. You flooded the market. You put in $160 trillion. You flooded the market. It's worthless. How in the fuck can you say inflation's going down? The only way it can go down is if you only have $150 trillion or $140 trillion. And by then, it's still already gone. So what are you talking about? The market, the inflation's coming down. First of all, do not believe when they say inflation's coming down. It's impossible. And do not look at the CPI or unemployment. These are all Keynesian statistics. The prices are irrelevant for inflation. Inflation, what they're trying to say is the money's losing value, so it takes more dollars to buy tuna fish. Oh, but the tuna fish price didn't go up, it went down. So you don't need as many dollars, so inflation is down. Well, no, that's got nothing to do with it. If tuna's too expensive and they got to lower the price, then they got to lower the price. That's not inflation coming down. What a Ponzi scheme. They're just snowing everybody. They don't teach economics and they snow everybody. Oh, inflation's coming down. So you go, oh, good, inflation's coming down. You don't even know what inflation is. And you don't realize it can't go down. That's the other kicker. You flooded the market with the dollar. How can the inflation go down? It's just they don't teach it, so nobody knows. And then you believe the government or the CNBCs or MSNBC or whatever the fuck you watch. Just watch me. You'll understand everything. But that's the problem. They're not. That's why you need Austrian economists, and it pisses me off when Alligator kind of knocks Austrian economists they think the dollar's money. No Austrian economist thinks this is money. You've heard me for 3 years. I have never called that money, or I've always called it monopoly money or toilet paper. It doesn't have a value, and I've been very clear on that for 3-4 years. I don't know, 2017, 2018, something like that. It's been a long time since I've been teaching here. So understand that. You've got to know who to listen to. That's why I show you Egon and Mark McGuire. Outside of that, I was watching Peter Schiff for about a minute was all I could take of him. And the guy asked him a simple question, and he can't answer it. What day is it today? Well, we do have time, and we do have days, and and the yen does this, and the dollar does that, and da. But he never answers the question. What day is it? I can show you that little piece if you want, but it's hysterical that he's such an idiot. What you're hearing in the silver market from Mark McGuire was it's a big shortage. They call it a squeeze, which I don't understand that terminology. I don't understand stacker terminology. We're collectors. We collect gold and we collect silver, like we collect baseball cards and Rolex watches and whatever else you want to collect. That's a collector. I collect it, or I'm an investor in it. I don't know what a stacker is. It's a very disturbing term that I think it's very demeaning. I'm a stacker. No, I'm not a stacker. I didn't know what gold bug was. Somebody called me a gold bug, and then I looked up the definition. I go, yeah, I'm a gold bug. I think gold will go up, and I think the dollar will go out. If that's a gold bug, then I am a gold bug. I'm an economist. I'm telling you that. I don't know what a gold bug is, but I am telling you that's what's going on. But people try to use it like the meaning, oh, you're a gold bug. Yeah, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. So keep in mind, it's all supply and demand. And see, they flood the market with the COMEX derivatives, not with the real physical gold and silver. You can't flood the market because the market, there's so little supply of it versus demand. That's why the price will go up. And that's why I'm telling you. So your option of the dollar or the Swiss franc or the British pound or the euro is zero because they're all flooding the market with their dollars. And if they're flooding their market with the dollars, then I can't get out of US. I know I got to get out of US dollars because they flooded the market. The value's gone. Oh, okay. So I'll sell my dollars and go into euros. No, they're flooding the market in euros. In fact, they're flooding everybody who prints this monopoly money, not backed by gold, which is the whole world but Zimbabwe, and BRICS will start coming out with gold-backed currency. All their money has been flooded on the market and is worthless because they all think the same. We'll keep printing. We'll print to grow our economy. We'll print money. Who is the idiot thinking that? That's not even. That's retarded. That's not anything to do with anything. You can't keep printing. If anything, you stop printing to save your economy. You don't keep printing. To go on a diet, I'm going to have 10 chocolate puddings, and I'll just keep eating chocolate pudding, and that you're on a diet. Well, yeah, but I'll keep eating them. I mean, that's about how stupid that is. And so you've got that. And so all the countries are flooding the market with their dollars to keep their economies going because they're all Keynesians. And so if you get anything from me, it's understand the difference between a Keynesian and an Austrian. Moi is an Austrian, or they call it classical. And the Keynesians are always wrong because they're communists. And we know communism has never worked. The government tries to run the market versus the individual runs the market. The government cannot tell me to buy golf clubs or tennis rackets or tennis shoes. They have no idea. They don't know what price I want to buy it at. If it's too expensive, I won't buy it. If it's cheap, then the companies can't make it. And the companies should be able to raise their prices. If the demand is for higher prices, then Coke tried that. They went from $1.59 to $2.95. And if you notice, it hasn't gone any higher because they can't sell it at $2.95. Sales are way down. And that's why you see buy one, get one free, or buy two, get one free, or something like that, because they can't sell it because their price is over market. So remember, you're trying to develop a market for the price. So the market for this, let's say, is $50, and that's what they're going to sell it at. Can they make money? Yes. That's the market set by us, not the government. And so that's what you're trying to do, is find that price that people will buy it. $60, we'll lose a little bit, but okay. $75, nobody will buy. Okay, so $60 is the magic number to sell the Canadian Club. What's our cost? Oh, our costs are $30. We can sell it. And that's what they do. But if they go too high, they've got to be careful of the competition. What's Dewar's selling it at? What's Johnny Walker selling it at? What's Seagram selling it at? What's Crown Royal selling it at? Because it's whiskey. It's all the same, basically. You can't taste whiskey that any different. It's got a kind of a very sweet taste to it, because it's basically potatoes that are just distilled, and they add a little bit other flavor to it, but it's basically I don't know, potatoes that have been sitting around for 6 months. That's why it's so potent, and that's why it's so sweet. That's why you just cringe when you drink it. So does it matter if it's Dewar's, Maker's Mark, Canadian Club, or Crown Royal, or Johnny Walker? No. I love the Johnny Walker black versus blue versus red or whatever. Like, dudes, it's all the same. So that's what you have. It's a very tricky, but that's what the market is, right? So you've got to be conscious of your market, of your competition, and then what am I going to pay for it? You got to be conscious of that. And again, 99% of these products, it's about selling, right? There's some where you got to sell everything, right? If it's legal, if it's doing what I do, if it's accounting, finance, if it's selling whiskey or tangerines, you basically have to sell the product. You have to make it at a price and sell it higher, period. And that's really the whole key to it, is what you're going to sell it for has to be good. Hey, Bobby Bo. You're late, Bobby Bo. We started at 11 o'clock. Well, you have some rewinding to do. I threw a Stoic in and a couple of Mark McGuire's and Egons. So good for you, Bobby. You love the Bills today? Okay, we'll see what happens. The Lions have the injuries to the defense, although these guys are going to try to play, but they'll all be injured, and they probably, we'll see how strong they play and how long they play. But anyway, so that's what a market is. It's understanding what the people will buy it from you for, and understanding what your competition's selling it for. And that's how you develop the market. And you've got to know what it costs you. And are there ways to get your costs down? But that's what a market is. So then you're figuring out, what will people pay for my product? How do I differentiate this from Seagram's and Dewar's and Crown Royal? Well, one way is I go, it's 12 years as opposed to 2 years or whatever the normal whiskey is. So I can differentiate that. And I got to differentiate, well, it's Canadian Club. That's, the brand. It's Rolex. It's Ferrari. It's Mercedes. So they're trying to differentiate and be the gold standard in their segment. That's where they get that from. People will pay more because it's Canadian Club or it's Dewar's or it's Seagram's. Maybe not. Maybe they will. Bobby's going wild here. He loves the Bills. We need more Stoic coverage, Professor. A lot of people needed that. I'm working on being more Stoic. I'm in a season of my life where I need to stay super cool, and Stoic will be a huge help. Stoic's about confidence. It's about tuning out the vampires. It's about keeping, not letting things bother you. Like if the gold price drops a little bit, it dropped down to 25.30. What did I do? I came on that night and said, don't worry about it. look at the whole, why are we doing it? If you understand why you do things, you're fine. As I said, if you ask this girl out and she says no, it's her loss. That's what I'm saying. That's a stoic thing. You just say, well, that's her loss that she turned me down. Good luck finding somebody as good as me. It's your loss. And that's what you do. It's about remaining calm, and it's also about that was the scorpion story yesterday, right? Where the scorpions stung the frog getting across the river, and they both died. And he asked the scorpion, why'd you kill me? And we're both going to die now. And he said, it's just my nature. And what he's saying is, you have to size up people that you're talking with. And if they're you don't like them or they're not good for you, you stay away from them. You don't please everybody. You just stick with stoic people. It's getting to the point now where if they don't like gold, I just walk away because it's going to frustrate me to try to explain gold and try to explain that the dollar has been flooded on the market. And if you flooded the dollar on the market, it has no value. So gold's the answer. So it's not an opinion, it, right? Gold's the only way out. And yet people, I'm in stocks and I'm in Bitcoin and I'm in, and you just walk away from them. You don't try to change them unless they come to you for help. Like here, I can talk about it in class because you're coming to the class to learn. And so I'm going to teach it. But if I'm at the pool or in the steam room and these guys, I just shut up, because you can't convince somebody who doesn't want to be convinced. So if somebody's into the dollar or they're buying Bitcoin, maybe they know the dollar's going out, and so they jump into Bitcoin instead of gold. And Michael Saylor's there, Bitcoin's going to 20 million, what is it, an ounce, a digit, whatever you call Bitcoin. It's not a coin. It's not real. So he's trying to convince everybody to get into it because it's a Ponzi scheme. Now, if somebody asks me, I will explain it's a Ponzi scheme, and you want to be in gold, but I won't just go, Bitcoin's stupid. And that's where you have your stoic problems, Bobby, because people are going to argue with you, and people are going to, then you get into arguing conversations. Now with your family, there's certain topics you just stay away from gold. And if I made money in stocks, just roll your eyes and just talk about football or something, or baseball. You just don't bring up subjects that are going to frustrate you. So that's why I told Jenna to goodbye, because she treated me badly. And so instead of having a argument or a conversation about it, I said, that's it. If you're going to treat me like this after me saving your life, goodbye. That's fine. And that's it. And I don't reach out to her. She hasn't really reached out to me, and that's fine. She doesn't appreciate what I did. She wants to, it's Positano. It's really Positano, not Positano. If you want to fuck with me like that, I'm not staying around to hear that shit. I'm not going to get stressed out. And I never fought back with her. She'd say that, and I just was a shake my head, like, I'm not going to argue. She's in the middle of a war. I'll let it be. Obviously, she's stressed. She's drinking a lot of wine, and I'm not gonna have an argument with her. So you don't engage with people like that. You just eliminate people like that. So that's the vampire. There's this lady at the pool, and she just rumbles on and rumbles on. She says hi to me. I don't even say hi back. There's people that say hi to me. I don't even acknowledge. I don't want to have a vampire. I see the communists now. I don't even acknowledge him. And now if he says hi, I'll say hi back, and I'll call him Joe Stalin. But I don't engage him, because what am I going to do? You chose to be a communist. You're a fucking idiot. It never works, but that's it. So we know it doesn't work. Anyway, So the best thing I can tell you about Stoic, it's you're getting into situations that you don't need to be in, that you get away from. And we know gold. So if they're anti-gold or not into gold, or they're not smart enough to understand the gold's the only lifeboat, if they're not into that and they don't know that the money's being flooded on the market, you can't you can only tell them if they want to learn it, right? But if they don't want to learn it, don't even go there. Don't waste your time. Don't expend your energy on that, right? So I think that's the biggest Stoic advice I can give you. It's just, you know what you know, and I know gold down to a science. I know economics down to a science. So if somebody wants to argue with me, I don't even want to argue, because I don't need to prove anything to them. I know gold is the key. I show you, I buy it, and then silver. So there's no point to it. So you don't engage idiots who don't know any better and they don't want to learn. If they did, they would ask you, well, why gold? Like the guy in the sauna, the first time I just pounded him with, all your money's it's just monopoly money. Oh, I don't believe you. Oh, okay. The second time he's like, so you're in the gold. Well, prove it to me. Or, he did like try to get an explanation. And I just said, he says, how are you going to sell your gold? What fiat will you buy? And I says, you don't get it. Gold is the money, not the fiat. This is the point you don't understand. Gold is money. Silver is money. You don't sell it for this. You just hold it. And eventually, as Egon said, you missed that one, Bobby, where Egon said it'll eventually go out. And it doesn't matter if there's digital money or they come out with a new US dollar or a new ruble, as they've done. It's still the debt. It's still zero. So gold has no debt. Gold has, nobody can fuck with you on it. And off you go. So that's why I showed, there was a Peter Schiff one. I'm going to show you a minute of Peter Schiff, not because we don't like Peter Schiff, of course. He's a fucking idiot. So here is simple question: why your money is losing value? The simple 30. If you ask me that question, the answer is because they're flooding the market or printing it to death. The more you print, the less it has. Let's listen to what Jim the Anvil Neinhardt says here.
To invest in crypto with I Trust Capital, you can.
And the fact.
What do you think it is that the typical person who's watching or listening should know on the financial front, practically, for their own protection and incremental wisdom, that they don't know? I mean, people aren't taught even the basics of how to think financially in our education system, and so maybe you could walk through what you regard as the basics of financial literacy on the practical front.
Well, there's a lot there, but I think the
simple
most
answer.
pertinent thing that people need to understand before they make any investments, really, particularly now, is inflation and the impact that inflation is going to have on the decisions that they make on their savings and their investment, because inflation is probably a bigger threat now than it's ever been, and therefore it's a even bigger factor.
So he's been talking for a minute, hasn't given the answer that I answered in what, 10 seconds. I gave the answer. He says inflation's bigger now than it ever has been. No, it's been bad since 1971, since we went off of gold. So this is the problem with Peter Schiff. He talks in circles and doesn't give a direct answer to what is he gets the inflation part, but that he doesn't, nobody understands what he's talking about. It's basically you're printing the money to death. The value of the money is going to zero. You need gold. That's a 20-second answer to the question. Next, not, well, inflation's worse now than it's ever been. We don't give a fuck about that. Why is the value of the money, why is the money losing value? Because you're printing it. I doubt he knows what inflation is. I don't want to listen to him anymore because that then I wouldn't be stoic and I'd get emotional because he's an idiot.
Risky market making. COMEX.
All right, so we'll listen to a little Mark McGuire. All right, before we do this, let's check the lines. It is a football Sunday, then we'll get that. Baltimore, 16.5, 17, 43.5. The JETS is 3.5, 41.5 to Jacksonville. Washington, 7.5, 44.5. Cincinnati, 5.5, 6. They're being bet 46 total. Houston, 2.5, 46. Cleveland, KC, 4, 41. Carolina, 2.5, 42 to Dallas. Arizona, 6.5, 46 to New England. San Diego, 3, 46 to Tampa. Detroit, there's a few twos now. Bobby's little Buffalo prediction, and 54. Denver, 4.5, 43.5. Philly, 5.5, 43. Green Bay, 2.5, 46.5. Mini, 7, 44. And Atlanta, 5.5, 44.5. Oh, okay. I played the one I wanted to play. Goody, goody, goody. All right, so let's go to Mark McGuire. I guess all the sharps aren't betting today, except for us. Here's a silver explanation. Now it's supply and demand. There's huge demand for silver, but COMEX keeps the price down because it's not free market. It's not Austrian. It's communism. The government, meaning JP Morgan. Now, step one, the banks run the government, not the other way around. So these bailouts are just bullshit. They're bailing themselves out. So that's step number one. Step number two is it's all derivatives because they're setting the price of gold and silver, not the market. So when you hear strong demand for gold and silver, which is what we have now, price should be very, very much higher, but it's not because there's the government is setting the price because they don't want you to invest in gold and silver because they can't manipulate the price of gold and silver if you have it physically. They can do it with COMEX, but once COMEX blows up, thanks to BRICS, they can't control you. They don't know what you have. They can't tax you with it. So it ends up, that's it. So they don't want you in gold and silver. There's no commission in it, right? So if the banks and Wall Street own the government, they want you in paper goods, stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, because they get commission on it. And they make a fortune on you dumping your money in there, keeping you stupid. If you were smart, you'd have been in gold since 1971 and you'd be multimillionaire by now. They don't want that. They want to fuck everybody because they're all about money. They're all greedy sons of bitches and corrupt, and they only care about themselves. So when Elon Musk gives 140 to Trump, 140 million, Trump doesn't care about us. Oh, okay, Elon, you gave me, we'll put you in charge of this or that or the other. And we'll give Tesla money and we'll make sure the stock market goes into Tesla because you gave us 145 million, you own me. And that's what I see the difference with Trump now. So because all the other countries know what the hell's going on, they're all buying, they're all getting out of the dollar like, oh, they've flooded the market. It's all worthless. As Egon said, they've lost 99%. So if that's true, we need to get out of it. So all the central banks in the whole world, except for the US and Canada, are buying gold. They're getting rid of the dollar, buying gold. Japan and China are selling their T-bills to buy gold. Why? Because they know there's no value in the dollar and they know gold is gold. It's very limited and the demand is huge. It can only go up, but we got to kill COMEX because COMEX is keeping our price down. And if you had 60,000 tons of gold, you wouldn't want it at 2,700 an ounce. You'd want it at 27,000 an ounce. Makes you richer, makes them poorer. But because the U.S. doesn't have any gold or silver, there's no gold in Fort Knox that's the U.S.'s. So because they don't have any, they don't want the price to go up because it benefits others without benefiting them because they don't have any because they're too stupid to buy gold. All right, so that's what Mark's going to talk about is all the demand for silver, which is obviously going to make the price go. So you should understand that. The problem is, what do? We look at the it's $30, $31. Oh, it went to 32. Oh, it went back to 30. That's paper derivative pricing, not market pricing. So that's communism trying to have the market set the price instead of the public set the price. But that's where BRICS is going, and that's where we're headed, is the free market setting the price based on supply and demand and real people and a real market. And that's where we're going to, thanks to BRICS. So we can thank Russia for that. And that's basically it. As demand goes up, price goes up. So if everybody wants Canadian Club, all of a sudden it's $60 and they can't keep it on the shelf, it's now $70. And if they still can't keep it on the shelf, it's now $90 because they can't keep it on the shelf. Everybody's buying it. The price goes up. Now, if nobody buys it, it's $60 and it's sitting on the shelf for 6 months and nobody's buying it. Well, we better lower it to 50, to 40 until they find a price where people are buying it from. Now, a lot of the problems is since the dollar is flooded, we can't, our some of our prices have gone up, which has made we have less money to spend on other areas, or we're using our credit cards to death. A lot of people are in credit card problems. They don't know it. They just see a $20,000 balance and they got to realize they got to pay that back. Now, when the dollar does go out, I think we won't owe the credit cards because how are we going to pay them? How can my bill be $20,000 when there is no dollars? When the dollar goes out, all the assets go to zero because they're all valued in dollars. All right, let's watch Mark.
Risky market making COMEX to FX function by really. However, what has still not been realized is that the surprise opening of the over 55 million SMEs to leave it at that because we've got a ton to get through.
Now, Andrew, I know this is well over 200 episodes, and I don't believe that we've ever talked about silver this early in our episode, but you got me really excited. You got me fired up about something major that's going on that we were talking about just before we started recording here in the silver markets. Can you share with the community what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely, Shane. Obviously, look, it's unlike gold. This has been the problem with silver. Unlike gold, it's not yet been formally reclassified as a first-year asset class. So, but nevertheless, it's a component of Beijing's war efforts, alongside hedging, foreshadowed tariffs to come. Liquidity providers assess the relaxing of the SGE rules that we looked at last time is specifically focused on attracting large silver bullion flows into China to meet military and industrial demand. Now, as we outlined in our last episode, by incentivizing millions of smaller investors, that's the millions of SMEs that we looked at on the charts as well, incentivizing them to buy and to trade fully paid for silver, it is greatly impacting global supply, draining underpriced silver already facing a 4-year massive supply deficit. Now, while there is a commodity element to silver,
So what he's talking about is the demand's there, demand's high, price should be higher, but it's not priced at market. It's fixed by COMEX. So COMEX is doing their little derivatives to set the price of gold and silver, but gold's been recognized as a tier one asset, which means it's strong. It's like T-bills, and then they went Basel III, which says if you make these derivative trades, you have to come up with the gold to sell it, right? If somebody, and China keeps saying we'll take the gold at these low prices, and they have to settle and they're way behind. And in silver, they're 4 years behind. So you have all this demand, and where's the supply? Well, there's no silver. There's no silver. Then they're all going to the mines and getting it there. So they need a real price of China going to the mine, and the miners being smart enough to say it's 500 an ounce and watch China pay it. You got a new price for silver, 500. That's how you get a free physical price, not, well, look what it is. Look what the JP Morgan did. It's $30. So that's what it's worth. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. How it's still going on, I don't know, but you can see it's ending because of what China's doing.
silver is classified as money, which is why, unlike any other commodity, it trades as a foreign exchange cross. So, as I say, long silver, short dollar, yen, etc., or the other way around. Now, with pricing being established in the physical exchanges, where there is always a tradable buy and sell order for every single bar that is actually traded, it's also going to put silver onto the revaluation stair steps. And it's just as when the Bank of International Settlements reclassified gold as a first-tier asset class on the 1st of January 2023. What they did was force the multi-trillion-dollar FX gold to become NSFR compliant, which meant that liquidity providers all of a sudden had to back each buy and sell order with physical gold. So that was a big change that changed what was really an unallocated market into a physical market. Now, by actually pricing physical silver or physically pricing silver in the FX markets, the silver fix event will produce the same result, with each silver bar will have a real buy and a real sell silver price, and a real silver price will emerge from that fact. It doesn't matter what the price of silver is, there's always going to be a buyer and a seller, but it's not going to be settled in the paper markets. And when we look back at silver in the rear view mirror, when it's trading with a 3-figure handle, yeah, you like that, Shane, it will be realized all the signs to act are really right under our noses now. And at the margin, this fresh SGE demand will be the next catalyst to drive a series of higher physically driven stair steps, this time also revaluing silver. It will begin to bullishly undermine the current bearishly skewed multi-billion-dollar options and OCC structures. We talked about these structures before. These are derivative structures. They're backed by nothing. Now, we've not really evidenced a real balanced supply-demand silver price, really, since it was fractionalized and diluted to be traded on the COMEX about 50 years ago. Now, with silver, with silver supply actually being sucked out of above-ground stocks right now into this growing supply deficit, it actually raises the question which we raised last time. What is that price? And while no one exactly knows, every well-connected liquidity provider assesses it has to be a 3-figure price. And once the short squeeze and margin calls hit, it will happen faster than most people realize. This is why every single bullion bank, without exception, is long both gold and silver for their own books. So really, kind of to sum that up, at the margin, this completely unfactored, fresh, bricks-driven SGE silver demand is going to make it impossible for the fast dwindling above ground supply. There's not enough supply for the so-called LBMA silver professional trade that they call themselves to suppress a globally driven spot silver price breakout into all-time highs. Now, liquidity providers give it till the first week in January for the lid to blow off. I mean, we are talking imminent here. And yes,
The first week in January, we're looking at a big jump in silver, probably gold too, but in silver, because the demand for the silver is too much. There's no supply, so they're just going around COMEX, which will blow up COMEX. And so triple digit silver coming the beginning of January. I don't know that quickly, but I do agree with, I think it'll be $2,000 an ounce, in about a year. I think right now it'll go 500 to 1,000 with 2,000 coming. Because why do I say that? Well, come on, Howard, it's never been over 50. It's always been derivative. It's always been price set by JP Morgan and not the free market. So they're setting the price they're using derivatives to short it and to keep the price down. That's why I say it. So if this is blowing it up and now we're getting to free market and we're getting to me and you buying and selling it, then we realize, wait a minute, that's not the real price is not that. The real price is not the derivative paper price. It's paper because of derivatives. It's the free market price of the same way we get this price. I sell it, somebody buys it. I sell the gold, somebody buys it. And as we run out of gold and the demand's very high, the price has to go up. That's where I get it from. And again, 2,000 an ounce is conservative and 25,000 an ounce gold's very conservative. The dollar will explode and go to zero. They'll probably come out with the USD number 2 or digital if it's not backed by gold. And I don't trust anything digital because it's not real. You can't put your hand. You can't. I trust this because it's in my hand. But if you gave me a digital Mahomes card, I'd tell you to fuck off because it's not real. If I can't hold it, it's not real. It's like getting a digital sweatshirt. Can I wear it? No, it's digital though. You do own it, you just can't wear it. Well, or digital Canadian Club. Well, you can't drink it, but it's digital. I mean, don't be stupid. If you can't hold it, it ain't real. It doesn't have how can it have a value? That's crazy. So keep that in mind. And it's all based on supply and demand. So very short supply, gold and silver, very high demand, gold and silver, very high price because there's more buyers than there are ounces, and therefore the price has to go up. And keep in mind, gold and silver is all the world. It's Russia, it's China, it's India, it's Saudi Arabia, it's South Africa, and Brazil, and the whole world buying it. The U.S. is so stupid that most of the people don't have a clue, and they're making money in the stock market without asking, is it really, is Amazon, it's $200 a share. Is it really worth $200? Nobody asked that question. It's all Madoff. It's the Madoff theory. Well, I'm not going to, I won't push Madoff how he does it, but I know it keeps going up, so I'm happy with it. And then it's the same. So nobody asked, then they all lose all their money because nobody asked, because nobody can understand why it's up. Nobody's asking why is Apple and Amazon and Tesla, why are these stocks so high? Because they shouldn't be. Ask the question, then try to get the answer. And are they even making money? Does Tesla make any money? I doubt it. Facebook doesn't. Amazon makes a little bit. Apple, they don't make how many cell phones are they selling at $1,600 in this economy? I think Amazon is trying to sell Amazon Prime. Apple, they have their media. So they're all like getting into the media going, oh, look at all our subscribers. well, that's not going to last. Oh, you can watch the Monday Night Football on Amazon Prime or something. How many people are really buying that? 2, 3 people are stupid enough to buy the game? Fucking just wait on YouTube and watch the game after, like I did. I watched the Monday night game or the Thursday night game. I watched it on Friday in 10 minutes. I could say, oh, yeah, here's what's happening. You get the gist of it. You do not need to watch the whole game. Who has time to watch that? Today's a little different because you've set aside, like, I'm going to watch the Lion Buffalo game. So I've set that time aside. I'm surprised the Sunday night game is Green Bay Seattle and not Philly Pitt. And then tomorrow night, the Bears and the Vikings. I'm surprised Atlanta and Oakland's on. What are they kidding me? So anyway, that's Mark McGuire. I played a little bit more yesterday, but I like to keep it fresh. So keep that in mind. The demand is huge for gold and silver because this is worthless. They're flooding the market with dollars. The difference is you don't know they're flooding the market with dollars, right? How do you know? If you're on the Titanic, you can pretty much, you see the iceberg hit it. You see the water coming in. You can see the boat sinking, right? And then get to the lifeboats. You can see it, but you can't really see the dollar flooding the economy. You kind of get a feel because why is Coke $2.95 now? But then you don't see Coke go up to $5. So you're kind of going, well, maybe it's okay. That's it for, you don't even understand inflation. It's inflating the money supply. It's the flooding of the money, not whatever Peter Schiff was saying. It's worse now than before. No, it's been bad since 1972. You're printing the money, and you've printed a lot of money. And what's happened is since you've got rid of the petrodollar, you had to print a lot of dollars for the petrodollar because people had to use U.S. dollars to buy the oil. Now they don't. So now China can go buy Saudi Arabia oil with Chinese money. So they don't need the U.S. So all this, they don't need the U.S. is coming back. Now they're just using their own dollar to buy it, but their dollars are losing value. So they realize they need gold, all these countries, to buy the oil and to just have a country that's successful to compete with BRICS, because BRICS is going to have gold-backed currency, which means the U.S. dollar is going to be worth shit. That's why they're kind of like, once BRICS does it, the dollar's done, because it'll take you $1,000 to buy $10 of BRICS money. So therefore, your money is worthless. And only gold can save you, and silver. And that's the point. Bitcoin can't save you because it's not real. I would never buy a Bitcoin with gold, right? So Bitcoin's 100,000 and my gold's now 50,000 an ounce. I would never give 2 ounces of gold for Bitcoin. You got to be out of your mind. I might buy a Camry with an ounce of gold, or buy a house with a couple ounces of gold. I'm buying an asset that I have, but there's no way I'm buying a Bitcoin because it's not real. So understand that if it's digital, it's worthless. Just stay away. Yes, I know. Oh, look at it, keeps going up and up and up. Okay. So what? What does that mean? It's in dollars. And that's the point. You've got to get out of the dollars. You got to get out of they're flooding the market with dollars, the Titanic with dollars. You got to get out of that whole system and get out, because the dollars are losing value because of all the printing, right? So you got to get out of that. And the only thing that you can get into is gold. And when I was at the store on Thursday, I said to the guy, my biggest worry is you stop taking dollars, and I can't buy the gold with dollars. And he says, well, I don't see that happening for a long time. And I go, good. I just said good, because I'll keep giving you toilet paper, monopoly money for gold all day and night. So when I get paid, I run and go buy gold. I get paid on Thursday morning, but by Thursday night, I went to the bank, got the money, and gone. I prefer to use cash as opposed to a debit card. And so I do that all the time. And so that's why I don't have money in the bank, because I don't want money in the bank. I won't be able to get it out. and the guys running everything want to steal all your money. So the stocks and the banks aren't going to give you your money out. You can now, but it's going to get soon when all this shit hits the fan. You go to the bank. I got $100,000 in there, and you can't get it. I'll give you $5,000. And I showed you videos on China where they had this. I got $1 million Chinese dollars in there, and he goes to get it, and they say, well, we can give you 5,000. That's all we're going to give you. Who are you going to? It's communism. Who are you going to bitch at? We're bitch to. We go see Xi. They won't give me my money out of the bank. Yeah, I don't care. I'm a communist. So keep in mind that whole the government of communism, socialism is set up for the government to get rich, in a nutshell. That's the problem with it. They steal your money, they inflate your money, they do whatever, and they keep it all, and they get rich. And you can see it happening in the U.S. right now. All these people in Congress and Senate making millions of dollars from all their whatchamacallit, the lobbyists. So the lobbyists pay them the money, and they're getting rich. They don't give a fuck about us. How can they? They keep printing the money. They keep making the money worth less and less and less. $36 trillion debt. Do they care about us? No. It's all fucked. Don't ignore the $36 trillion in debt like, oh, well, I don't have to pay it. Oh, yes, you do, because they're going to keep printing and making your dollar worthless. So they're stealing from you right now. The dollar is not worth what it was. Hence, in 1971, you bought a Pepsi for a dime. Now it takes you $3. You bought a car for $3,000. It's now $40,000, $50,000. You bought a house for $25,000. It's now $500,000, $600,000. It ain't prices going up. It's the value of the dollar dropping. So that's really the key to it. And don't kid yourself with these guys who say it's not gold going up. It is gold going up. It's gold going up through demand. So yes, it's the dollar dropping, but the dollar's gone 99%. So it ain't the dollar dropping anymore. The dollar's dropped. Now it's gold going up from demand. Like I said, if there's big demand for Canadian Club or Mahomes, the price goes up because more people want it. That's what's happening with gold and silver. It ain't the dollar going down. It's the demand by everybody wanting to get off the boat and into the light boat, which is gold and silver. So I will leave you with that. I have 4 locks going today, and it's 108, so you've missed them. www.teaserking.com. I still have some good plays at 4:30. I think I have a lock going at 4:30, so you can still get that. Anyway, good luck. Be smart. Think about things, right? And if you want to stay stoic, it's a lot of the problems with stoic is you're getting into the wrong conversations with the wrong people. You're getting involved with the scorpion who's going to sting the frog and they're going to die. So you got to avoid scorpion people. So you just kind of stay quiet, and you can be free. You can say hello and really, but you don't want to get into a conversation with people until you know, are they pro gold or against gold, or are they pro stoic or against, are they vampires, or what? Until you really know the person, you don't know what to do with them. And I'm finding people are stranger and stranger these days. It's really hard to have a conversation with. You just don't know. Anyway, let's go watch some football. I got to eat some lunch and go to the pool. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. I got to work next week, and then it's Christmas week starting on the 24th. So I think it's Tuesday through until January 2nd. So I'll be on a lot more then. I don't know about traveling. I just went to Italy. I'm waiting to go meet Daria in Russia. So I don't see traveling. I might go to Vegas for a few days. We will see. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Good luck on your games today. Buy your gold and silver. That's a no-brainer. Just ignore the COMEX prices. Although it's a bonus, you get to buy silver at $30 an ounce. that's $1,000 silver. So, but you got to just be patient for it. That's happening. As Mark McGuire said, could be the first week in January. I'll give it a little bit more time because, I don't know, but I think, let's say by March, we'll start getting interested. Hopefully the first week in January. All right, everybody. So for Christmas, go buy silver. Buy yourself silver for your Christmas present. I brought the ounce of gold. I told Daria, this is my Christmas present to myself. All right, everybody, have a good time. Have a good day and relax. Stay stoic. Just relax and just avoid the people that are stressing you out. Just avoid them, or just say hello and that's it. And when it's tough, when it's family, but I just don't see the family because they're all Madoffs. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.